welcome to the Creatives Get Real podcast. I'm Roben-Marie Smith.
And I'm Sandi Keene, and these are real conversations about the creative life. Hey, Roben-Marie.
Hey, Sandi Keene. How's it going?
Sandi Keene. She's doing good.
Awesome.
And you?
Yeah, just got back from vacation. So, of course, vacation at the beach. When you live at the beach, people think you're crazy for going to the beach for vacation, but that's what we did. So,
but it was a different
beach. We have whole bunches of beaches in Florida, so you can go to just about any of them and probably not hit them all in your lifetime. So, yeah.
That's true. And you were on the other side, so it was a little different. The water's different.
The water's different, yeah. It was a little too cold, which I was a little, but it's further north where we were, like you're just practically South Georgia and Alabama there. And the water was a little too cold even in the pool. So, but that was okay. It was still beautiful, but the food was amazing. We ate some really good seafood.
What was your favorite?
We had a lobster cheese grits dish.
Ooh.
It was like a little lightly fried pieces of lobster in these cheese grits that were to die for. Like that was the best thing we ate.
I've never even heard of that, but I love shrimp and grits.
Oh yeah.
So it's got to be similar.
Yeah, it was. And it was just, oh wow. It was just so good. They used, smoked Gouda was the cheese that they used.
I love smoked Gouda.
It was delish.
That sounds wonderful.
It was awesome. So yeah. So anyway, so it's good to be back, but yeah, it was nice to have a little break.
So all the people that are in snow right now hate you.
I know. Although I have to say, I still want it to be a little cooler here. It was like, 91 this weekend? It was so hot. I
know.
So yeah, it's coming. It's just taking its sweet time. But yeah, you're right. I know there's some folks that are where it's really cold are going, I wouldn't mind being at the beach even if the water was cold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell us about today's episode.
Today, we're going to talk about mastermind groups. You're probably going, what? What's a mastermind group?
Yeah, I didn't know a couple years ago.
Right? I'm not a mastermind. It's not, no.
So let's define it.
Okay.
How would you define mastermind? And then I'll tell you my definition from what I've experienced.
Yeah, I have been in a couple. So my first experience was I was a little bit nervous, and this was a paid mastermind. So, I was definitely committed to doing and being and participating, but it was basically it's a group that comes together with a common focus or a common goal that they're wanting to achieve, or they're wanting a topic that they're discussing and they're trying to learn or become better at something, improve their business or whatever that is. And it's geared towards accountability. And oftentimes, at least in the first one that I did, we had, homework, we had things that we did, we had breakout groups where within the main part of the mastermind, we had smaller groups that would meet when they wanted to meet, but we always met usually once a week by video where you could get the coaching from the leader of the group. There was, in this particular one, there was one person that was leading the whole group. And there were downloads and things, but it was like I said, it was a paid group. So it was a little bit different than the free one I've done. Yeah. So
how many people were in it?
In my breakout group, I think there were like 5 or 6 of us. In the larger group, it's been so long since I've done it. I would say there was probably 30, 40 people maybe in the bigger group. And then it kind of broke out from that. But they did the breakout groups. I like the breakout groups because then you were with people that were of different industries that were, they had a different perspective on things. And this one was really messaging for our business. It was like, not really, it was kind of like branding, but it was more tackling our message and what we do. And then we would share ideas for like, I'm struggling with whatever that is. And so the breakout groups got a little bit deeper and we were able to help each other and support each other a little bit more intimately than in the bigger group that we met with everybody. And everybody was with the main person who headed the whole thing up. So that was how it was different. Yeah. How about you?
Well, I'm in my first one. So this is my only experience. Mine is not paid, and there are 5 of us in it. So it's kind of like your breakout group, which I enjoy because, you get a chance to know everybody.
Yep.
And we are all creatives. We're all artists. but we do have different mediums.
Okay.
So I haven't been in a group where, there's photographers and jewelry makers and food designers all together in one group. I have not done that. But same thing. Accountability, goals. We have homework, just like you said. We have topics that we discuss each week. Yeah.
Well, if it's not a paid mastermind, how does it work as far as like, is there one person that sort of was delegated to lead it? Who puts together the homework? Who makes that decision? And then how do you remain accountable to each other during the week when you're not on your call? Like, do you use Slack or texting, or do you have a Facebook group that you guys kind of coordinate with? How does that look?
None of that. What we do is we meet, we're starting out with every other week. And we have one person who started the mastermind, and she's the leader, though. I think we'll, eventually take turns so it doesn't all fall on her.
Yeah.
And because there's just 5 of us, we kind of collaboratively decide, okay, how about this topic this week, whether it's marketing or email lists or whatever it is we're talking about. And then we don't have accountability in between meetings, but we have accountability in the meeting. So we would come to the meeting like, here's what I did. Here, this was my goal. This is what I accomplished.
Okay, cool.
So that's how it's working for us.
And so that's kind of two different ways, that you can, when we look at how does it work, how can it be organized? If it's a paid type of mastermind, it looks a little bit different because you have one person who provides the lessons, provides the scope of what we're doing, and then guides and says, all right, here's the instructions. And I know when we did it, there were printables that came with each of the different weeks, and there were questions and things for us to do. And then we had our weeklies with our breakout groups. And that was really interesting too, because we did talk about and focus somewhat on whatever that weekly topic was, but we were also like, okay, what are we challenged with this week? What are you working on? We had one of our members was a wedding planner. We had a travel, she was a travel planner for young marrieds, or those that were like wanting to have another trip later. It was like a couples type of travel. And so her business was very different. There was a website designer. So it was really diverse in the different people that we had. So it was kind of interesting because the challenge that one person had may not have been something I was challenged with, but we were really able to kind of think creatively about, well, how could I help this person? What could I suggest? And in different ways. And it was also a way for us to connect people that we knew with people they needed to know. Like, oh, I know so-and-so, she does this. She could use your help. So we were actually able to connect people with others that we knew as well. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I'm finding that with our group, which is we're relatively young in the sense that we've only been together a couple months.
Yeah.
So this is a new thing for us. But we too are able to, like, I need to do this. And, like, oh, I have an app for that. Or,
exactly.
Here's a software or whatever. Here's a YouTube. This is how I solve that problem. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's like having your little group of your close friends or your people that like you and I talk business and we're together and we talk a lot about it, but it's bringing all those people together. But the element of support and accountability is really important, I think, in the mastermind. You could get together and just chit chat once a month or once every other week, and that's great. That can be encouraging, but if you want to make it worth your time and the effort, and then all of you invested in it by doing that, makes it that much better, So we talked a little bit about what it is and how it works, but should we be in one? Is somebody out there asking, well, should I do one? Should I be in one of these? Should I join a paid one? Should I join? How do I find one even? Do I start one on my own? There are, depending on the industry and depending on who you follow, there are many masterminds out there that you can join into that are paid. They run the gamut of prices too. I mean, they can be quite expensive because at least the one that I did, you were basically doing group coaching. That's what it was. It was a group coaching mastermind. So you were getting the expert, the coach, but in a group setting. And then there was the element of having those breakout sessions to the smaller groups, to the smaller mastermind groups. And I believe ours was, I think it was 3 months. Maybe it was about a quarter. So maybe it was about 3 months. And then you could renew, or you could, which I did. And then we were shuffled around, and then we had different people in our breakout group, which was really cool. Because then you had different people that you were with. So, so yours is relatively new, and yours is one that was formed. So what do you think? What advice would you give our listeners as far as whether or not they should be in one?
I think if you are trying to achieve something, that it's great to have advice and support and accountability. So yeah, I think it'd be really fun to be in a mastermind of, let's say there's 5 creatives in whatever genres or mediums, and they just wanted to be held accountable for creating or learning a new medium. I think, that could be really interesting. It could be any kind of different group. It wouldn't necessarily have to be, like I want to build a business. It could just be, I want to grow creatively. And I think that could be super cool and super fun. I have a question for you about accountability. When you were talking about your group, how did you stay accountable? Did you have to report back to each other outside of meetings?
We had a group that we used Slack, which is like it's a communication tool that is like texting, but there's more to it. You can upload images. There's a lot of different things in it. A lot of groups I've been in use Slack. And so we would have, we had a channel within, we created the Slack. I actually created that. And so everybody was in there. And so during the week, we were able to just like check in and say, hey, I've gotten this done. This is where I'm at. Or, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can anybody jump on a quick call with me to work, to kind of talk this through. And so that's kind of how we kept in touch with each other, aside from our calls that we did every week. And that seemed to work pretty good. But then the main part was coming in each week. And then we would just sort of like, okay, everybody, here's what, here's my update. Here's what I've been working on. Here's what my, plan is for this next week. And then we would kind of go around, because you have to be conscious of everyone's time. I think one of the biggest things about should you be in one is they're awesome, but you need to be committed, because everyone else in that group is counting on you as well. So it's not just about you and what you're doing and what you need, but it's you helping provide to the others as well. So it's a give and take. And I think doing a bi-weekly is probably a great idea. Weekly was a lot.
That's because a lot.
Every week we were committed to it, but it was a paid mastermind too. So we were all like, we wanted to get the most out of it. And like I said, there were assignments and things. But I think that being aware of that, and also it's like, it reminds me of back in the day where you join these leads groups. I know when I had my first job, I was part of a leads group. And so you would show up like once a month or something, and you would all talk about your business and what you needed. And I know somebody who does that. Back before the internet, when you only had business cards, and you would meet and you would like, Chamber of Commerce kind of stuff. Right. And so, it's you don't just come to get the leads, you come to also offer them. So you're, you're giving part of yourself as well in being committed to it. So, and did you guys set up a timeline? Like, are you only going to do it for a certain period of time, or is it going to be ongoing until you just decide we're done, or how does that look?
It's ongoing. We don't have a stop date. And it's nice because since some of us didn't know each other, some do, some don't, it's really nice that we can spend some time getting to know each other and figuring out what each person needs and go from there. So awesome. Ongoing. I like that. And I like too that we're all in different stages of our careers. Some are just starting. Some of us have been around for a long time. Some of us have long careers in another medium and are switching. And
Oh.
so they have all this experience in one area, but are a newbie in another area.
Wow.
So
Okay.
depending on what we're talking about, the same person can either be the expert or the newbie.
I love
So
it. Yeah.
it's really interesting, and I really like it.
Now, is yours a closed mastermind where it's just your group, or is it one where you'll talk later about maybe adding to it, or is it strictly just this is the group that we're going to have?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to stay closed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like small groups. I do not
Mm-hmm.
like large groups. I'm an introvert. I
Yeah.
don't do well in large groups.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would find that extremely overwhelming. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know how I would do it in one that had 30 people. I'm not
Yeah.
sure I would ever talk.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was more of you all had the opportunity to speak and talk and get the feedback from the main coach, but she was the
Mm-hmm.
one, that was running it. I actually kind of liked it. It was only once a month, but yeah, I don't know. But it was overwhelming in a sense that you didn't, there's a lot of people in there. You didn't have to have your camera on if you didn't want to, but you got there was that many more people that you could hear from. And then she would help and answer questions that you didn't have or you didn't even think to ask that somebody
Mm-hmm.
did. So
Okay.
there was some benefit to that, but the smaller groups were far more intimate, where we all
Mm-hmm.
knew much more about our businesses. We knew our family life and things that were going on. So yeah, it was definitely like that. Well, I've never started a mastermind of my own, and so I've not really been a part of that. So we're saying, hey, our listeners are going, well, should I start one? How do I find one? Is that
Mm-hmm.
something I should consider doing? And then how do I find people to actually be a part of it? You can answer that one probably a little bit easier because I've not started one of my own. I've only joined ones that were already out there.
Right. Yeah, a friend came to me and said, "Hey, I'd really like to do a mastermind. Do you know anybody who might want to be
Mm.
in one?" And I said, "Well, I hope you mean me because I would like to do it."
Yeah.
And then I suggested a couple people, and she knew someone, and so that's how we did it. So it was just a
Mm-hmm.
matter of picking who do you think would be
Mm-hmm.
really, you do need people who are going to show up, who are
Right.
going to actually do the work and
Mm-hmm.
be there for each other. So you kind of want
Yeah.
to pick your group
Mm-hmm.
carefully. You don't want, how you go to a paid class and there's always the one person who sucks up all the time of the instructor.
Yes.
You don't want that person in your mastermind.
That's so true. Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right.
it needs to be, equal everywhere.
That's
Everyone
right.
gets a chance to talk. And the people who are introverted and quieter, with 5 people, it's easy to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Karen, it's your turn. You talk.
Right.
And it gives the quieter people a chance to say what they need to say without
Yep.
trying to get a word in with the extroverted people.
That's so true. Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
So,
I'm not discouraging others from joining a mastermind. If you find one that is, even a paid one that could very
mm-hmm,
well be exactly what you're looking for.
right.
I don't believe that I know of a place where it's like, hey, go to this link and find all the masterminds that are out there. It doesn't really work that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, people that you follow in the industry, whether it's art or whether it's, I don't know, business building, branding, all of the different things. There's many of them, like I said, a lot of them are coaches or they specialize kind of in that and they do, will offer them. So I think just keep your eyes open for them. And also word of mouth. You find one,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, hey, have you been in this one? Have you done this one? What do you think of this person that's heading this up? But I
Right.
think that doing one of your own and being a part of a small one like that is a great idea.
I
Yeah.
think it'd be cool. And it'd also be a great way to like audition it out and see if
Mm.
would I be willing to, especially since some of them are rather expensive,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
give it a shot. Do you enjoy it? Do you have the time to
Right.
put forward? And, do you enjoy being accountable and having homework? Because if you don't, then don't pay a lot of money for one that you're not
Right.
going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a good way to give it a little trial run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm really enjoying mine. I know I'm going to get a lot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting to hear other people's perspectives on things. And, I always look at things from a coaching
Yeah.
aspect, and to hear other people, well, this is what I think, this is what,
Yeah.
I'm feeling. I find that really interesting. And yeah, it's very valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, we had talked about this, just touched on it on a past podcast episode, and then I had joined one. It was part of a membership that I'm actually paying for, and then they were doing masterminds within the paid membership. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to do this. But then as soon as I jumped in and started kind of realizing the time commitment, I was in the middle of some stuff that was going on in my life personally, and I was like, I can't do this right now, because I knew I was not going to be able to contribute and be a part of the group and show up the way I needed to. And so right at the get-go, I said, you know what, count me out for now. And, if I can come in at a later time, I will. So even within a membership, there was the offer of having these masterminds. So those could be also present depending on, any memberships that you might be a part of. So, but I do miss that, it's having that. Yeah, I need accountability. I don't always like it. And I don't always like doing the homework, but I really enjoy, like you were just saying, the different perspectives, or hearing how somebody is solving a problem or giving advice that you're like, I wouldn't have thought of it that way. Other perspectives are so important. And we've talked about how important community is, and how it's hard when you're just working alone and just kind of doing your thing and you don't have that. So
it can be so lonely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I agree. It's a great way to build community, to get to know other people, and people who know this person, who knows that person. I mean, it's great networking too, even if it's not like, hey, I need, a graphic designer. Does anybody know one? But maybe it's hey, I need a partner, for play dates. I need an art partner. Does anybody know anybody who's in my area? And that can be cool too.
Yeah, that's true. So is your group spread out across the United States? Or are they anybody international?
It's just US.
Okay. All right. Are they around the country or more?
Yeah, we're around the country.
Awesome. So you have to work around your time zones too then for calls.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I have to go, is that Central or is that Eastern?
Yeah, that can get so confusing. It's like, whoa. I don't know how many times I've gone into Google. What is 9 a.m. PST and UST or EST? It's like,
yes. What time is this meeting?
Yeah. Hey, you were saying, I'm not going to say her name when you say, hey. Yeah. I think I have my notifications off and she would pop up. What do you need? But yeah, it's sort of like, I know we all do that a lot. It's like, okay, what time zone is that? I always love it when it's already in EST, we're in Eastern. And it's like, yes, I don't have to calculate that and try to figure it out or get it mixed up. So yeah.
Yeah, my leader's Central, so I always have to remember to add an hour.
Yeah.
Because I've shown up at the wrong time. That's how you learn. Like, where is everybody? I'm the only one here. Oh, I did it again.
Yeah. You're an hour early. I've had that happen too, where I've got a meeting scheduled and I'll get the email notification that someone's waiting. And I'm like, dude, it's an hour from now. You're early. It's like,
Yep.
You'll come back, right? Better to be early than to have missed it. So yeah.
I guess it's still frustrating though.
Yeah, it is. So
that is something to think about. I think there's something to be keeping everybody in your time zone. That would make it so much.
That's a challenge. Yeah, that's a challenge. Yeah, for sure.
And then there are masterminds, I'm sure, where you meet, not in a pandemic, but normally you could meet in person.
Sure.
Rather than all being virtual.
Yeah, especially if you're all in the same area. Yeah,
that'd be
do
cool.
meetups. Yeah, that would be nice. Yep. So, well, any other advice that you can think of for our audience here?
I say give it a try. If it sounds like something that you'd be interested in, grab some friends and give it a try. See what you think.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, and how do you do that's what the other question is. How do you do your meetings? Do you do it through Zoom or do you use something else?
Yeah, we Zoom.
Okay, cool. Which can also be recorded. So if someone can't make it, they can watch a rerun of it or something, which is nice.
Yeah. And we do notes too.
Oh, good. Okay.
We do
All right.
note take. One person does notes, and then
Yep. We did that as well in ours. That's awesome. And then have like, here's what was said, and kind of, and we rotated that. Yep.
Like, somebody talked about this app or this,
oh,
here's
yeah.
the links, or
this
new product. Here's how you get it.
Yep. We did that as well.
Helpful.
Oh, yeah. And then just rotate the assignment on that so that, it's not the same person every time. So, yeah.
Right.
All righty then. Okay. Well, you know what? Let us know if you have any questions, guys. We appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next week.
Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of Creatives Get Real.
We love hearing from you. So hop on over to Instagram and leave us a comment. And we also appreciate reviews on iTunes.
And you can find me, Sandi Keene, at sandykeene.com, and my classes at popupartclasses.com.
And you can find me, Roben-Marie Smith, at robenmarie.com. And if you're looking for and need tech support, check out my membership site, makerstechu.com.